But fellas, I think one of the best things about this is the three of us, and even I can include our producer, Alex Wolves, we love filling out brackets. And guys, one of the more special things that I think we all can agree on is finding that Cinderella. Who can we get? We always get that shoe, that glass slipper. Who can we fit that on every year? We didn't get that chance last year with the tournament being canceled. But when I look at some of these teams here, teams that have a chance to surprise some people and maybe bust some brackets, the first team I look at, Jimmy, Loyola Chicago. Not too long ago, a few years back, Sister Jean and this team, they rambled. See how I use that play on words? Rambled their way to the Final Four, shocked everybody. Really just America's sweetheart for those few weeks. They enter in, as far as I know, the latest bracket projection by ESPN's Joe Lunardi has them as an 8th seed. Jimmy, if Loyola Chicago is an 8th seed, that means in the second round, there is a 1 seed that is going to have to see that team. And Porter Moser always has his guys ready for a fight. And I think Loyola should be right there at the top of the list as far as potential Cinderellas that can make some noise.
Yeah, it's fascinating. I was really mind blown a couple weeks ago when I found out that Cameron Krutwig is still playing college basketball.
Exactly. He's like 28 years old at this point.
He's like the Perry Ellis of modern day college basketball. He's still there. You like Loyola Chicago, and I think that's a good pick. I think they could win 1 game, maybe even 2. I'll give you another interesting Cinderella, a little lower down the line here. And I'm going to take Liberty. Okay, now Liberty, automatic qualifier into their through their conference tournament. It was a weird story. Basically, North Alabama, they played in the title game, but North Alabama was transitioning to D1, so they weren't eligible. So Liberty was already eligible, but they won the title game anyway. Right now, they're projected as a 13 seed. They shoot it really well, and those types of teams can give other teams issues in a setting like this. So Liberty, I think, is a really interesting sleeper. I'll give you another team that's on the 8 line right now, and forgive me for being a little obvious here. But how could you not like UConn right now?
Oh, yeah.
They are 18th in KenPom, currently an 8 seed. You know, if you take that KenPom rating, they should really be like a 4 or a 5. You know, they've got Book Knight back. Dan Hurley, I think, has done a great job with this team. They had a heartbreaking loss in the Big East semifinal to Creighton and noted racist Greg McDermott. But you did have a team that finished the regular season, I thought, really strong. They can do a lot of different things well. They've got a few scorers who are really solid. UConn, I think, forgive me for being obvious here because I know a lot of people have said it, but I think UConn has to be Cinderella potential. It reminds me a little bit of 2014 with this team, just a little bit. I'm not saying they're going to win it all, but they're capable of it, I believe.
No, yeah. I mean, UConn, they can definitely, just like that program, just like whenever you feel like they're in it, like, oh, they have a chance just because the 2 times they did it and went to the Final Four. I mean, I agree with Loyola Chicago. I mean, a lot of people are saying this is a better team to when they made it to the Final Four, which to me is insane. And, they're a team that, if they're, I could see them making a run, the Sister Jean magic, so to speak. And just, I mean, I would love to see that and the way they play. And just another team I like kind of farther down is Winthrop. They're a team for me, 23-1. So this team, they blew away their conference too. They got 4 guys in double figures. 3 out of 4 of them are seniors, which, I mean, usually with those teams, they are, more older teams. And I just really like that. Chandler Vaudrin's right now, their leading player, 12 points, 7 and 7. So, I mean, look, they can get hot. They play some offense. They only scored under 60, I think, once. So they can light it up. And I feel like when you only lose 1 game, and usually those teams, if you can be that much better than your conference, and, if they're playing one of those 5 teams, 6 seeds, I mean, I could see them winning a few games here and making a little run at it.
Yeah, I also look at the first 4 because in the last few seasons, a team to win their first 4 matchup ends up winning the next round and moving forward. And if you look at right now, Drake, they're an 11 seed. They were the toast of the town. A lot of people talking about them. They were undefeated, a team that maybe these Power 5 conferences don't want to see, don't want to match up with. So Drake, if they could win their first game, and Jimmy, this is interesting because Lunardi has put a third A10 team in that first 4. That team would be St. Louis. And let me tell you right now, if you give that trio of Jordan Goodwin, Hassan French and Javonte Perkins a chance to get into this tournament with Travis Ford and how they've really felt about all the pauses and what they've been through, that is a scary 12 seed that nobody is going to want to see. Those are some grown men over there in St. Louis and a team, we talk about Bonaventure and VCU, the other two teams, but SLU, Jimmy, if this team gets in the first four with the experience that they have in that depth with that trio, I mean, they could beat anybody on any given day.
And it's not just SLU, I think, in the A10. I think St. Bonaventure is a really dangerous team as well. Now, not to change the subject, forgive me, but, a team like St. Bonaventure, who we saw, Andrew, in the regular season, who I thought was really impressive. They've got Lofton, they've got Oshuna Oshuni, who might be in the NBA and then within the next year or two. So they've got I think a really solid case. I think Bonaventure's at a 10 seed right now.
Yes, they're currently 10.
Yeah, right now they would play LSU. That's probably a decent matchup for them. I mean, St. Louis is really interesting in the first four. I am I don't want to say partial, but I have a lot of respect, for Drake and what they've done in the same conference as Loyola Chicago, and they go undefeated. They get the short end of the stick. I think they'll wind up being in. We have seen the committee recently show some, not favoritism to the Power 5 teams, but they have done that at times, and that sometimes has come at the expense of some of the mid-majors. So if they get snubbed, I wouldn't be necessarily surprised. Right now, they're the third to last team in, if I'm reading this bracketology right from Joe Lenardi. So, they are vulnerable. And, you've got a team in Georgetown tonight that can steal a bid in the Big East tournament. You've got, other teams out there that could steal bids across the board as well. Georgia Tech, for example, maybe. But, there's teams that, I could see the committee saying, hey, we'll bring you in, as opposed to putting Drake in. I think Drake deserves to be in, but we've seen the committee do stranger things in the past and leave out some of the smaller school teams.
No, yeah, and you talk about that, how I feel like even this year even more, because they'll be like Power 5 teams, if they went through stoppages, be like, oh, they deserve the benefit of the doubt, like maybe they're getting healthy now. And that's something that, it would be interesting to see a team like Drake being left out. We'll just have to see, like, if a team like Georgetown wins, like, as you said, like, if they steal a bid, then that changes things a lot. And it is really interesting. And just how always the bracket falls out. It's always, there are a few teams that you want in that don't get in. And that's what makes Selection Sunday so fun.